When we think of self-care, most of the time what most of us think about is things like bubble baths or eating ice cream while we're binging our favorite TV shows. And our capitalist society would absolutely love for us to associate self-care with those things, because then it can sell us the bubbles and the ice cream and the TV shows. Because if there's anything capitalism loves, it's charging us for everything. But I think that there is more to self-care than just face masks and sugar, and adding magic to your self-care routine can help you dig deeper in finding that peace and restoration. And so I thought in this video today we could talk about magical self-care. When I say magical self-care, I mean an approach to self-care from a witchy perspective. For some people that might mean using a rose quartz face roller or adding moon water to their bath. And that can absolutely encompass self-care, that can be part of it, but I want to look beyond the physical, more to the emotional and the mental side of self-care. I'm not saying that the physical isn't important, because we really should be taking better care of our bodies as it is, but what I think that we often neglect those other aspects of self-care because they don't come packaged in little face masks and bath bombs and things of that nature. And I think that magic is uniquely suited for these other kinds of self-care. What's brought up the idea for this idea for a video today is that it's two things. One, it's getting towards fall, which means we're starting to slow down and get off of that frantic pace that we've been on all throughout spring and summer, and having the time to go, wow, we just really ran through our paces and we just did a whole lot of stuff, and now it's time to kind of take some time for ourselves and rest up and recover from all that busyness that the spring and summer brought us. The other reason I'm thinking on this topic is that I'm working on my 5th book, and that requires me to do a lot of research, and so I've been reading a whole lot of these witchy self-care books, and I feel like they tend to ignore these 3 topics that I'm going to be talking about today, or don't even address them. So I'm hoping that you'll find some information that you might not find in other sources when it comes to this idea of magically enhancing our self-care routines. So to start off with, I'm going to tell you that magic is not a replacement for professional help. I'm a witch, yes, but I also go to therapy and I take a bunch of different medications for various elements. Magic works in supportive medicine, giving it an added boost that speaks to our spirit in a way that Western medicine doesn't. So this should never be taken as a sign to rely only on magic. Casting spells are not going to deal with your insulin levels. It is not going to completely erase your depression and anxiety. It is a support system for medication and for therapy and for doctor's advice. With that out of the way, when I talk about magical self-care, I'm referring to things like blessing your meds, cleansing your space and body, and shadow work. These are practices that any witch should be engaging in, I feel, and by doing them, you're not only taking care of yourself and your health, but you're also engaging in activities and techniques that just sharpen your experience as a witch. These are tools in your toolbox that will serve you better because you are using them often. For myself, currently, I take a few different medications, and most of them help me live with my depression and my anxiety, and I credit them with having kept me alive during certain times in the past. So what I want to do is I want to do everything I can to support the medication in its effects on me and my body. To do that, so that's where I come in with blessing my meds. And I do this whenever I get a new refill. I just hold the pill bottle in my hand and I call on Hestia, who is the Greek goddess of the hearth and who is the goddess that I work with, and I ask her to bless my meds. It doesn't take longer than 5 seconds, and then I feel like I have given my medication a little energetic boost. If you're not one into blessing in that way, you can do things like bring in crystals that have properties of not only blessing but deal with mental health or physical health, and you can place those crystals next to your medication. Or you can draw sigils on your pill bottles. You can even anoint your pill bottles with a anointing oil for blessing. Whatever your path is, there's probably going to be some system or some protocol for blessing that you can then tap into for your meds to then have it. It helps to give your medication this this instructions that this is supposed to help you for your highest good. And it also prepares your body to be receptive for this medication, all so that it will, along with taking your medication on a regular schedule, taking it according to directions, you're going to also bless it, and this is going to help the meds be the most efficient for your system. Moving on from the interior to the exterior, so kind of, we talk about cleansing our body and our space. I think that is just as important as cleaning them physically. And when you think about how much we interact with other people, like when we're going out, when we're at work, when we're socializing, that we run into people with their various energies, some of which will not be pleasant, will be negative. You'll run into energy vampires. You'll run into people who are carrying malicious and harmful and unwanted energies on them that will attach to you. And then you bring that home to the place where you're supposed to be feeling safe. And that energy can then mess with other things. It can interfere with your magic. It can interfere with your mood, with even your health. So you want to cleanse your body on a regular basis. For me, the easiest and the thing that comes to mind first when I'm thinking about cleansing someone's energetic fields and cleansing unwanted energy off of them is the light shower, which is when you step into the shower and then you envision white light cascading down over your body, and that white light then removing the unwanted energies and taking it down the drain and taking it out and away from you. I like this because it is a no cost, no tools needed activity, which is my favorite kind of witchcraft. But you can get fancy with your cleansing if you want. Get yourself a bundle of dried rosemary and turn it into a smoke cleansing bundle that you can waft the smoke around you. You can carry a piece of black tourmaline with you and use that to just go through your run it through your energetic body and over your body to cleanse out those unwanted energies. There's also, you could make yourself a aura spray where you take witch hazel, water, and then lemon or cedarwood essential oils, mix them together and turn it into spray that you can spray on yourself whenever you feel energetically crusty. All of these are ways that you can go through and make sure that you don't have any negative, malicious, unwanted energies stuck to you, like, some metaphysical toilet paper stuck to the bottom of your shoe. And then this brings us to the idea of shadow work. I'm not going to go into how to do it because that is a topic that requires a full-fledged video of its own, and there are books out there and videos out there that go over the ins and outs of shadow work. But I believe that shadow work is one of the most important aspects of self-care that we can engage in. We have aspects of ourselves that make us uncomfortable, that come up when we are triggered by something, and that can interfere with all sorts of daily activities, interfere with our relationships, interfere with our magic. If you have deep-seated self-sabotage, that can come out and interfere with your spell work then. And this is why we need to engage in shadow work and get down into that deep, swampy part of ourselves, find out what is going on in there that we may not even know about, and then integrate it or deal with it in a way that is healthy for us. It's one of those things that is truly uncomfortable and difficult, but we're witches. We deal with the uncomfortable and the difficult all the time. There's no reason why we can't do this as well. So I think that while it may be something that takes a long time, it takes some hard work, it takes effort, I truly believe that it is worth the effort, and I believe that it should be the foundation of anybody's self-care routine. And you'll notice how all three of those practices I talk about, none of them require you spending any sort of money. The great thing about magic is that all you need is your intention. You don't need to spend money. Yes, the crystals and the chalices and the statues and the candles and all these different accoutrements of magic are tools that help focus your intention, but you don't need to have that, you don't need to have them. And one of the things that while I appreciate that magic and witchcraft have become much more mainstream and accepted, the commodification of that magic, I think, has hurt more than it has helped. I think that, again, we're getting into that whole capitalism loves anything that it can sell, and you don't have to spend money to engage in any of these three practices of self-care. All they require is your attention and your ability to show up. So I invite you to think of ways that you can add magic to your self-care. Again, throwing your moon water into your bath. I do that. Adding affirmations to your morning toothbrushing to help hype yourself up and boost your self-esteem. These are good ways to engage in self-care magically, but I'm inviting you to dig a little deeper, to look at ways that you can do it that don't require you to spend any money, don't require, and do more than just the superficial sort of, I'm gonna do a face mask and everything is gonna be okay. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you want me to delve into any of those topics a little deeper and in a longer form video, go ahead and post in the comments below and I'll see about making that. But otherwise, I hope you found this helpful, and I encourage you to stay healthy and stay witchy. Blessed be.